Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the LFC Transfer Room Max Reaction. Liverpool versus Norwich. A fantastic performance, 5-2. Goals across the board. First game back since the unfortunate announcement that we won't go over too much because today is about the performance and about the good times and the fact that we should enjoy these. 5-2, fantastic result into the fifth round of the FA Cup. Been rewarded with another home game up against either Watford or Southampton at the end of February. So hopefully we're all looking forward to that. So I'll bring us in there. So Mihai, Paul, thank you very much for joining me today. I'll start with Mihai. How are you? What were your overall thoughts of today's game? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it was really similar to the one against Bournemouth a week ago, where you just had great performances all around, and it's kind of hard to fold someone, and it's going to be hard to choose someone as man of the match, or maybe even three players, because there's just been so many good performances now. So yeah, good to get it done. I don't think it was in doubt at any point, to be honest. So good to see us scoring a bunch of goals, because that's obviously great for confidence, especially for players like Nunez and Gravenberch, who we know they basically feed off of that. So it's great to see them on the score sheet. I think it was a bit unfortunate tonight for Cody Gakpo, sorry. It's just I don't think he played badly, and I went on Twitter just after the game, and then of course I saw slander on there, which I think is absolutely insane. Winning 5-2 at home, and you kind of you have to choose one of the players that didn't really put it in back in the net, and you have to slander them online. I just don't get it. But at the end of the day, great performance. I think everyone played well, so it's good to see. I was actually watching the match, and then 4-2, I was thinking maybe I can choose someone else for man of the match, and then of course Bradley just got another assist. So yeah, well, this
No,
is going to
that's
be a
it.
fun conversation now.
Yeah, I had the same feelings as well, Mihai. I was sat there going, how could I be edgy? How could I be different and say? But to be honest with you, Trent's going to have a trouble getting back in this team, I reckon, at right back. I think Bradley might have it locked up. Paul, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining me. Again, same question to you. What did you make of today's game? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, it was a nice, easy home game against a team that didn't come with any great expectation. They just came to facilitate us through to the next round, it would appears. Um, but I'm still a little bit critical because we gave away two sloppy goals, especially the second one. Our captain was a little bit lazy. He could have easily covered the guy. And the market for that first goal for them from the corner was atrocious. But you know, other than that, we were quite comfortable. At no time did I feel like we are at any risk. It's nice to score five goals, and I think we have five different goal scorers, and we also create quite a number of chances. Nice to see the youngsters showing us the talent that they obviously have. One of the things about these games is that managers like to use them to give youngsters a chance. But then when the youngsters come out and show what's their worth, then it creates a headache for the manager as it relates to selection, which is a good problem to have because I've been really impressed the last two or three games watched with that young right back. Just a pity we didn't get to see the other left back in the game, I suppose, because we have to facilitate Andy Robertson, which is fine. So yeah, all in all, a nice, easy game. I really wanted Watford to win their game because I would prefer to have them at home instead of Southampton. But we'll see.
We'll wait and see.
And I still like the draw that we get. So all in all, so far, a very good Sunday for me.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I'll stay with you, Paul, because Jen's put a really good comment in there, and you already touched upon it. And this was my sort of opening gambit I wanted to put in there. The youngsters will stand out for me, says Jen LSC. Big supporter of the channel. Really appreciate the comments and on my debut of putting these. So yeah, putting my nerves at rest. So just with that one, the youngsters who we had out there, we got Jarrell Kwanzaa, who we're all used to playing fantastically well, and I think he had another really good game today, to be honest. Connor Bradley Wonderful, absolutely fantastic today, wasn't he? Absolutely brilliant. And then James McConnell, both of them get involved with the goals, involved with the assists. McConnell with the opening one for Jones, fantastic ball, and Conor Bradley probably unlucky not to get a hat trick if Gakpo had kind of finished that one in the first half. So wanted just to keep on with you there. Is this possibly not just under Klopp, but is it under watching Liverpool? Have we ever had such good depth in the team going forward? What do you think of that?
I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been a Liverpool supporter for probably 2.5, 3 decades. And most of the time we have had decent starting 11. But we have never had this kind of depth in the squad that I can remember, actually. Even if you think about 2019, 2020, when we were going for everything, we had a scary good starting 11. But the options off the bench was noticeable in terms of the drop off. Now we have 5 forwards. Well, we have Salah plus 4. Any 2 from the 4 that the manager put on the team sheet to start, nobody will say, what was he thinking? We're all happy. Same thing with the midfield. Every game I watch, I said, okay, Curtis Jones, he's a nail-on starter. And then I said, Soboslai is a starter. McAllister, I want to see him at the 8. Endo has been very good the last couple of games. We have Harvey Elliott, who we didn't see today, but when we see him, he's really, really good. So we have 4 or 5 nail-on starters in the midfield for 3 positions. We've never had that. So I think whoever is going to take over from Klopp is coming into a really good situation. There'll be a lot of pressure, of course, because he's expected to win, because we have such a deep squad. But as supporters, we have to just, revel in this moment. Sometimes we worry too much about transfers, and so we need to go and get this guy for 60 million, this guy for 40 million, etc. When you look at the talent that we have, with these youngsters, I think the club is set up for a very good 4, 5, 6 years. So I'm really excited as a Liverpool supporter.
No, definitely, and so we should be, and I think you've nailed it there. It almost seems like it's so much more exciting, isn't it, when it comes to be a transfer, when you bring this player in from somewhere and like they're a young name and we pay 30, 40, 50 million pounds for them. But we're looking at the players who we've brought in, and I know it's a small sample size with the 2 of them, but they've played fantastically, and the level that they've played at, it goes to show that the seeds that were sown many years ago when we moved the youth in with the first team up at the AXA in Kirby.
Sorry, guys, give me 1 minute. There's a curry at my door. 1 minute.
No problem, Paul. No problem at all. Has shown that bringing those players in and they know what their role is, they're developed from a young age, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We're talking 4 years of being brought in, learning the way that we want to play as a club. So, Mihai, just onto yourself there. What were your thoughts today when it comes to the young players' performance? Who are you particularly impressed with? Not just Conor Bradley.
Yeah, it's difficult to single someone out. I think it's been a lot better than we've expected in pretty much every department this season, especially with the youngsters. Now you've seen. I know when Kwanzaa came on against Newcastle was, I think, in the 3rd round. I said, yeah, okay, I'm getting why we haven't signed a center back yet, or we haven't, or we won't. But I don't think anyone expected it to work as well as it did. Like Kwanzaa just looks like he's playing in this team for like a few good years. He's playing great in pretty much every match he's had. I don't think I've seen him, make any sort of mistakes like that actually were relevant to, anything that like that led to a goal or anything like that. So and I think it was great for McConnell as well. And I think it was when I saw the celebration, the overall celebration when he had that assist for Jones's goal, you could see the togetherness in this group of players, and I think it's just great to see. And I think it's only a statement of how great this team is going to get in the next few years, because this is the way we play now. When Kwanzaa is only starting to play in the first team, Bradley is only starting to play in the first team as well. We had Beck, Clark, and now McConnell as well play their first games this season. We're having Gravenberg, Soboslai, McAllister in their first season at the club. They're all still young and as well. And I'm thinking, even if we don't win anything major, we didn't necessarily expect it anyway this season, because it was more of a rebuild. But the next few years, I'm just so excited to see where this goes. Even without Jurgen, it is going to be difficult to see this club go forward without him. But I think it just shows you how much he loves the club, in the sense that the team he's built for his successor versus the team that he inherited when he came on, I think just shows you, how much he loves the club, and that he just didn't want to leave until he got this rebuild out of the way.
No, 100%. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for us to go into one of the players that you've mentioned there, who, in my opinion today, he got his goal, Ryan Gravenberg. It was mentioned in the commentary over here on the on ITV, who put the footage out there for our international viewers over for the UK. They mentioned that he was, of the 4 players who've joined, the one who has probably not gelled into the club as well as the others. And I think that's a fair assumption, but I think there's mitigation and there's things that need to be looked at for Gravenberg. Today, I actually put in my notes today, I actually put down, he had the ability to be top class in one moment and then to frustrate in the second. It was almost like every so often he would not play the right ball, but then all of a sudden he puts the right tackle in at the right point and then plays the correct pass, and we've got a chance. And I put that down to the fact that he's very young, 21, has played football at a higher level than a number of our younger lads who've played. I think it's also difficult when we have to come to Liverpool, having not played very much when he's played at Bayern Munich. He's come here today and he's got his goal, fantastic, and you could see what it meant to him with his celebration. He clearly was feeling that frustration. I'll just stay with you, Mihai, just quickly on Gravenberg. Where do you see him as in the hierarchy? Is he someone who is going to be pushing our first team, or is he kind of exactly where he really could be, which is he's more of a youth player that we need to develop for another 12 months before we start to consider him as a first team sort of out and out starting player?
Yeah, I think it's rather the latter. I think he still needs a bit of time, which is completely understandable, because, that's why I was mentioning stuff I've seen on Twitter, and it's been, this way pretty much the whole season. I don't get why you'd slander someone who's been here for a few months, especially, people. I don't understand how people think that they can judge a player so quickly, like after a few months. Even 6 to 8 months, I wouldn't say that's enough for someone to fully integrate into a new group of players. That's obviously, imagine yourself, switching jobs into another country. That's like a new group of lads around you. It's different styles of playing. It's just difficult, especially for him still being so young. I think is really promising, though. I remember I think that's kind of forgotten about him. I remember when he scored our goal at the Etihad, when Trent scored it. He was the one that actually got the ball 20 yards out from our goal and basically moved it forward up until we created the chance and eventually scored. And I think that's the type of thing that he can provide. He's a really good ball carrier, and I think he's going to develop and only get better and better. I don't know what people expect of him now, to be honest. He's not going to score 20 goals a season. He's not going to assist 20 goals a season. That's not his job, really. What I can say, though, about it is I think I've seen something. I'm not sure how true it is, but I've seen Curtis Jones scored and assisted this season as much as our entire midfield did last season. So that's quite the stat for you now.
To be honest with you, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. Last season's midfield has been wiped from my brain. I'd like to forget it, pretend it never happened, to be totally honest with you. That was a very miserable time in Liverpool, but we're at the good times now. Well, until this week. Right, now talking about someone who should be scoring goals, and Paul, this is a question for yourself today. What were your thoughts on Cody Gakpo, and where do you think he now sits in the hierarchy of Liverpool's attacking outfield players? It wasn't for lack of opportunity today. He was getting involved. He was in front of the goal. He's had some really gilt-edged chances that Nunes would have been slandered for, but it wouldn't have happened. Now, what is it that's causing this from Gakpo? Because we know he's a prolific goal scorer, because we've seen it at PSV, and we've even seen it for us that he knows where the net is. What is it that's causing this sort of kind of stop-start? Do you think it's because he's not starting, or do you think it's just we're trying to find where he fits in Liverpool?
My guess is that he's probably pressing a little bit much. I think he feels that he is the fifth of the five forwards, so he sits behind the other four in terms of order. So when he gets a chance, he just feel like he know what he need to do something spectacular. He need to score a couple of goals if he's going to cement his position. We tried him in midfield, and I don't think it worked quite as well as it could have. But now that we have so many options in midfield with the guys coming back from injury, there might be little to no opportunities for him in midfield. So when he gets an opportunity to start, I think he's pressing just that little bit. He just need to just take a leaf out of Diego Jota's book and just relax and breathe that split second before you take a shot. Just a little bit too early. But to have a guy like him, who is our fifth of five starters, that just goes to show our depth. So I think you'll be fine. Is it nice type of player that you want to can take off your bench if you need a goal? So I don't know. I don't like to see him taking corners, though. A big 6'2" guys, I need to see him in the box more. But other than that, I think he's just pressing just that little bit too much.
No,
if I can say
definitely.
something, if I can say something about Gavin Birch too.
Please.
From what I observed, Gavin Birch, I think, sometimes does not play the simple ball. He likes to take on defenders, and which can be a good thing because he has a talent to dribble past people, right? So when you have a player who likes to dribble, who has the talent to do that, there are going to be games, there are going to be times where he loses the ball. It's the same thing with Thiago. Thiago, when he's unsung, is the best midfielder we have. But there are times when he just loses the ball. So I think we just have to be patient with the guy. The guy is 21, and there is no doubt about his talent. He's extremely talented. So I don't get the hate that he's getting online as well. I think he's going to be a big player for us over the next 5 to 7 years.
No, 100%. I massively agree with you on that one. Gravenberch there's a nuance to be taken from him, isn't it? Is that he's a young player who's only a few months older than Harvey Elliott, and Harvey Elliott's had the benefit of playing with us for years to develop into the player, and we shouldn't be measuring him to that. This season should be one for him to get used to us as a club in the way that we're going to play. The expectation didn't play very much at Bayern Munich, but the talent is there, and Mihai mentioned it correctly. When he came on against Man City, it was his movement, his play, what you just said there, his ability to take on a player that causes us, to get into the right places, and it will come. I'm absolutely convinced. It's just I think he's a work in progress, and he's not as far as some people are comparing him to, or where they want him to be right now. But yeah, there's no thing about that one. Right? Okay. So it was 5-2, 5 different goal scorers: Jones, Nunes, Jota, VVD, and Gravenberch right at the end, which was fantastic. Now, so I wanted to mention this was just a quick brief moment on it. Darwin Nunes, is it time to stop questioning his ability, Mihai? Now that every time he seems to be involved, 7 games, 7 goal contributions, first player in Europe to score 10 goals that are non-penalty goals, first to hit 10 assists. Is it time to stop asking the question and start understanding that, yes, he'll miss chances, yes, he will frustrate, but the fact of the matter is, come the end of the season, if he carries on, we're going to be talking nearly 30 odd goals and assists, and that ain't bad. especially in the world where Mo Salah and Erling Haaland live. So, Michal, what do you think? Is it time to stop questioning his ability?
I think the only thing you can question about him is his finishing. Now, outside of that, I just don't get it. The work rate and anything outside of that, he's just a great player to have. I think I've said it after the Fulham game. We were on stream together then as well. I think I said it. I said that he needs to start taking some of those chances because we can't afford him to miss 2-3 big chances every game. And now since then, maybe he watched the stream, we don't know, but since then he's actually done it. So it's great to see him obviously that way, because now I think the flop conversation has kind of calmed down. I don't see anyone else throwing the word around, which is obviously what we've been saying all along. I think even last season, when he didn't necessarily have a lot of goal involvements, you could see the potential, and then it was just obvious that at some point it would click. Now he's the type of player that's just like he's like a streaky player. He gets quite a few goal involvements. Maybe he gets for a few games, but it's just who he is. He may miss chances, but then he scores worldies. So I'd rather have him in my team than have him than any of our rivals having him. I'm just that's the thing that I'm gonna end with. Yeah.
No, definitely. Paul, Nunez's positioning wise today, he kind of picked up all sorts of positions. He was out on the right wing at one point. He scored his goal from the centre. Where do you think his best position is in this team? Because there was a big call at one point for I've been one of them, that his left wing was where he was most influential for us, especially with getting that extra space. His ability to play a cross-field ball was on today as well. He has got an eye for a long pass as well. Where do you think his best position is? Do you think we're now back to him playing as our number 9?
Well, if you look at some of the goals that he has scored from the right side, it would be easy to say that, that probably is his best position, especially with Salah not available. If you go back to the 2 goals that he scored against, was it Newcastle at St. James's Park? Even the goal today was coming off the right? So what that is telling me is that the guy is extremely versatile. He can play down the middle. He can, and the left is his natural position, being a right footer, which is a good problem to have. So what that allows the team to do is to have that movement, that flow. So it confuses defenders and it gives a lot more options. If you look at the numbers, just the statistics, you could see why people are saying that he's in it to score more, he's missing a lot of chances. And I'm not going to say he's not. But then I think Darwin Núñez is one of the most unlucky footballers I've seen for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So many times the guy does the right thing, perfect, off the post, off the upright. Look at the goal, if you remember, when we beat Newcastle 4-2 at Anfield a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
That goal that Cody Gakpo scored, where the ball just bounced off his knee and somehow find the net after a bad touch. If that was Darwin, I'm pretty sure it would have bounced the other side of the post.
Yeah.
Because he's just so unlucky. So, with the guy's work rate and goal contributions, I think is way past time, we stop criticizing the guys. But you know what? Liverpool fans mostly love the guy, and I think he feels the love. And one thing you can't say about Darwin is that he doesn't try. He gives you 100% effort every time he's out on the field. And you know what? That's all you can ask for.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that's a really good point to make. Is that in that game against Newcastle, the chances that were saved, you put them down as world class saves, don't you? But they go against him, they come a negative. I mean, the saves that were made against the chances that he had were like, the keeper's having an absolute dream here, and it's just not going in for him. And then Gakpo's goal, the scruffiest, horriblest finish you can imagine, and it goes in. And sometimes you just need that, as you say, a bit of luck where you mistime it and somehow the ball trickles in the net. Happy days, got a goal. That'll be for me, and we're away. I saw today again. We thought early on he takes that quick, no thought shot, instinctive, hits the post, and we're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Now we're up for it. And as you've mentioned, he takes, again, Connor Bradley. We'll go into we'll discuss just the goals transfer. Just while we're on to Nunes, I just love the way that we created that. It was a breakaway from Norwich. Who stuck to their principles. Fair play to them. He played out from the back. They wanted to play through us. They didn't come and try and play long balls or anything like that. And we caught them because they came to play our game, and we can play it better. Connor Bradley puts the tackle in there, takes a player out with a lovely little move, plays that ball into Nunes, and Nunes does one touch right bottom corner. That's what we need to see him doing, in my opinion, more often. Don't give him time to think. Give him more time to just go, touch, shoot. You know where the net is. It's not moved. Keep taking those kind of chances. So yeah, I'm not worried. I never was, to be fair, when we signed him. It's just unfortunate for us that we have taken a little bit more time than I think we would have liked to have seen this development from what happened last season. I think if we'd had a good season last season, he could have bedded in much easier than he did now. So going through there, I just want to ask Mihai and then on to yourself, Paul. Who were your three players who stood out for you in today's game? I know this is a more difficult one because there was a lot of good standout performances. I'll start with you, Mihai. Who were your three standout performers? They don't have to be in order. Just who felt that gave the most with today's game and gave you a good an idea of what's to come.
I guess anyone can guess the first one. So even though it's going to be a popular pick, I just don't see how we're not going to mention Connor Bradley. So it's obviously him. I would I would go Curtis Jones, I think, just because I think most of the time he goes unnoticed. I think he's been playing so well and he's been so consistent pretty much our whole season. So I think this time we can give him a shot. Obviously Gomez was exceptional as well. I think I would go Nunez as well, just because I love him so much, and just because I love to see him get involved and score, because it's just I can already hear all those people slandering him online. I can just see their faces every time he scores. So when it goes in, my heart is just filled with joy. So yeah, I'm gonna mention him again.
Tweets being deleted as we speak. Paul, again, same question to yourself. Who are your three standout performers for today's game, then?
So, Connor Bradley for sure. So let's leave him out and just concentrate on some others. Ibu Konate. He was massive again today. We tend to sometimes don't notice centre backs. And when you don't notice a centre back, it means that he had a good game. And he was a monster again today. He was so quick. The other young guy that we played in the midfield, McConnell, he was very good in the first half, especially. I was watching for him because I haven't seen much of him. And I think he was the one that made a pass for Curtis Jones' first goal. And I had to go back and look online and to see if this guy is right-footed or left-footed, because it was a perfect left-footed pass, over the top to Curtis Jones. So he was also pretty good. Kwanzaa again was solid behind there, and of course Joe Gomez, my guy. So it was just a decent team effort. I think everybody. But then again, it was just a relaxing game. It was almost like a friendly game. Even look at the two managers. The two managers look like they are best of friends, which I think they are. So
he was his best man at his wedding. So yeah, it really was
right.
best of friends.
Right, So all in all, it was just a good showing today. Just a nice, easy, relaxing game for a Sunday game.
No, definitely. So my picks say, again, this is trying not to turn us into the Connor Bradley show, and we'll get it renamed later on. He was wonderful, and he stepped in to the shoes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and said, could you do us a favour while he's injured? Are you capable of going and doing that for us, please? Could you go and do what he does? And he has. He's not just put in solid defensive performances. He's not just put in, his 6 out of 10s. He's come in and took this opportunity to get involved, play those risky runs going up down the right hand side. He's happy to be caught out of position, but he's also willing to get back and get in there. Today, 2 fantastic assists, and he could have had a third. If Gakpo had finished that one there, it's a hat trick of assists for a lad who's barely kicked a football when it comes to Liverpool's first team. It's been shoved upon him. This isn't just the opportunity to take these chances in a League Cup game or anything. And we're able to go and rely on this lad now. We can rely on him to come out there and do a job for us. So, yeah, fantastic. Another player who I wanted to mention when we was going forward was Diogo Jota. Jota has come back from an injury. He's been fantastic. In the past, it's been kind of he comes back from an injury, he drops off, and then he has to kind of get going again. Instead, he's come back from this injury, and it's like he's never been anywhere. It's like he's been on international duty, and he's influential, creating the chances. He's the one who's always looking to find that opportunity that comes, and that's what he does with his goal. He kind of gambles on the fact that this lad's going to make a mistake. We saw it against Tottenham last season. He gambles on people making a mistake, and he's lethal. He was fantastic today. It's a difficult one now for me to go in for my third. My third choice was Nunes. My third chance was Nunes, just because he knew that today was kind of he was the one who we were going to look forward to, and he was one who was willing to make the different movements. He kept going right. He was in the middle. He was on the left. He was pressing. He was doing everything he was asked to do. And it's more to his justice game than the goals, but he's getting the goals, he's getting involved, he's playing the right passes, he was capable of playing some lovely cross-field balls, which I actually didn't think he had in his locker. And it's nice to be able to see that he's finally settling into our team. So with that one there, I just wanted to obviously finally discuss some of the comments that we put in here. This is it. Right. We saw a triple substitution. We saw Van Dijk, we saw Szoboszlai, we saw Andy Robertson come on, and we saw Trent, obviously a little bit later. 4 players who've been injured. Andy Robertson. How do you feel about us having these lads back now? Where do you think this leaves us? Do you think this is the thing that we're going to need to get us through? Do we need to make sure that these lads who've just come back now, do we need to ensure that they stay fit for this final running? Because I'm not sure whether or not we can risk losing them once again.
So that's the dilemma we face, because our next game, I think, is Wednesday, which is a big game at home against Chelsea. We haven't beaten them in a while, so we really need to beat them. So the couple of questions that I have, if I was a manager: does Robertson start? Secondly, who is the first choice at right back if it's not Trent? Is it Gomez or is it Conor Bradley? Right? Who is our official backup right back right now?
It's technically Gomez, isn't it? The hierarchy-wise, but I'm not so sure anymore. I don't know who our right back is. I think it might be Conor Bradley. Trent's going to have to get back to the club.
Yeah, I was not yet on the Trent into midfield train, but now I'm starting to say, probably not yet, but at least we have some solid options, even if we want to put him in midfield late in the game. I think this is a headache for the manager, but it's a very good headache, because what it does is that it put pressure indirectly on the players, because everybody knows we have 4 or 5 players who are 100% starters. Salah, if they're available, Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah, Trent, and Maka.
Yeah.
So all the other guys who are vying for that starting role, they know that they have to give 100% each time they get an opportunity. So that can only augurs well for the team. And especially with this being, quote unquote, the last dance, with the boss leaving, You know, I am very excited for this season. But as to who is going to start in those two positions, for Chelsea, I am leaning to give back Robbo his position to start over there, just because he offers more on that left flank going forward. But the counterpoint to that, I think if Trent is inverted in midfield, we are better off with Gomez over there, because most times when Trent inverts and we kind of shift to a kind of a 3-4-3 shape, Gomez is more suited to be in a back three formation than Robertson.
Mm.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I am glad I'm not the manager. I'm just a supporter, and I don't have to make those decisions. So I would really love to hear what you guys think. What's your start? Who do you start on Wednesday?
Do you know what? Paul? I'm gonna drop this on Mihai's toes. I'm gonna drop this for you because that's a really good question. Mihai, we play Wednesday at home against Chelsea. A must-win game, in my opinion. What's your starting 11?
Very nice of you. Very nice of you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I don't know. It is complicated, but you see, I just love it. As Paul said, I think you just love the headache. It's so good to have this this headache after after these past few seasons where we just thought we have this standard starting 11, and you basically don't know who comes on. There's a massive difference between who comes off the bench and who's on the pitch already. At the start of the match. But now, obviously, when you think about it, I just love to have the headache. I am going to actually try and give you a full starting 11. So, okay, you have Alisson in goal. I would go Trent, Ibu, Verge, and Robbo.
Yeah.
Even though I know that I think it's so tough to bench Gomez especially with the performances that he's been having this season. I said it in the summer that Gomez needs to go because he's not good enough for Liverpool, and I'm just at this point I'm so humbled that I need to start worrying, do I put him ahead of Robbo at left back? This is where we've gotten. So it's great to see. I would go Maka, Soboslai, and Curtis Jones in midfield.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would go I would go, you know what? I would go Diaz, Hakpo, and Nunez up front. I think I would bench Diogo for this one, just because I think Gakpo is. I think you can kind of sense the way that Chelsea are going to play, and I think people. I don't know if people give Hakpo enough credit for his link-up play. Yeah. You know what? You know what's actually funny? Diogo is my favorite. I think he's literally my favorite player in the squad. I love him to bits. But I think for this one, I would start Hakpo just because of his link-up play, and I would leave Jota to come off the bench. And I think you give Jota 30 minutes, and it's enough for him to basically score 2 goals if he's in the mood. If he gets the chances, he'll probably score.
We've seen it before.
Yep. And I think I would thing is with Hakpo, I feel like at this point he's been playing a bit better than people have gave him credit for, and I think he with how he's played tonight. This afternoon, rather. I think he's earned himself a start, even though he hasn't scored. So I would go with that. I know leaving Jota out is a massive, what would you say, like a gamble or something like that. But I feel like it's coming for Cody.
Yeah, I mean, again, Paul, Mihai, we both said it. What a wonderful headache that we don't have to deal with, and thankfully, it's on a certain Herr Klopp who has to go and deal with it. And it gives us so many options. You talk about there, like when you first mentioned starting Hakpo. Thank you very much. Never give up. I was quite, oh my God, like, really? You know, like, not Diogo, like, you know, he's in the goals, he's involved, he's showing that he can start games, play well throughout the match, score goals, because he has been victim of a player who is sort of that super sub, the Portuguese Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or the Portuguese Divock Origi, where he's capable of coming on and scoring a goal, but when he starts a match, he's not very good. But this has massively changed. So I can't argue with your lineup, and I can't argue with the fact as good as Joe Gomez has been, Andy Robertson's the best left back we've ever had. And you can't say, well, by the way, you're not going to start this match. He's fully fit. He's had a really good rest. His injury, thankfully, wasn't a muscular injury to his legs or to his body. It was an arm. So we can get him out there fully rested to be able to finish this season. I fully expect him to play every game now, I believe, between now and the end of the season. Perhaps maybe not the FA Cup. Perhaps maybe if we get a favourable draw in the Europa League. But I think he's going to be our nailed-down starter. And then that only leaves a question as to the right-back position, which is Trent. Now, as already mentioned, it depends on, does he move to the field? Do we have Connor Bradley? Do we have Joe Gomez? Or do we just go back to what we were playing before we had all these problems that have given us new solutions, and just go back to going, right, Trent starts, right back, he inverts, Robertson's on the left, and we just go from where we started at the start of the season, doesn't it? So anyway, I'm going to wrap up now. I want to thank everybody who's joined me on my first show that I've actually run. I think it's gone down not too badly. I want to thank Mihai and Paul. Great result, 5-2 through to the FA Cup 5th round. We play on the 27th or the 28th against Watford or Southampton. Good start for us. Hopefully we can get another good result there. And until next time, please like, subscribe. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. Be one of those 10,000 for us. Thank you very much. See you now. Bye-bye.